Minecraft 1.14's Village and Pillage update added tons of new blocks to the game, including a variety of different crafting stations. But did you know that those blocks can be used for more than just crafting? My name is System Z, and here are some tips and tricks for building with the new 1.14 blocks. If you enjoyed the video and want to support my channel and help me make videos in the future, consider becoming a member, where you'll be invited to my Minecraft and Discord servers, as well as have a chance to help me with new videos through exclusive community posts. Click the join button below for more information, and also thank you to those of you who have become a member since my last video. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another building video. Today we are going to be taking a look at the various different 1.14 crafting blocks and figuring out different ways to use them for building. Now, I'm going to show you how to build walls, but you can take these tips and tricks and essentially build anything with these new blocks because they are very multifunctional. Now, obviously, you can use them to smoke food. That's what's amazing. But there's actually a lot more than meets the eye, at least with the smoker. Let's take a look with this block. So, as you can see, if I rotate it, it actually does rotate depending on my direction. Now, there are various different textures on this block. If I'm not mistaken, there are 3 different textures. Actually, 4. We've got one on the top. We've got one on the bottom. I love the one on the bottom. Very nice. We've got the one on the sides, of course, and the one here in the front. Now, you can use this for a lot of cool stuff. For example, if you want to build a dungeon door, I guess you could do that. That's pretty creative. But there's actually so much more that you can do with it. And I want to go ahead and build out a wall to show you exactly what I mean. So as you can see here, I've added one too many blocks. There we go. We've got essentially a row of smokers. That is it for my TED Talk. Thank you for watching. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot more here than what you see. So we've got the brown and the gray pixels within the texture. That is very important because what that is going to allow us to do is blend together blocks as it echoes off in the distance. I know, it probably doesn't sound as epic as I think it does. But what that means is we can get blocks like these and blend them together, which is extremely important. So, as you can see, these various different blocks all work perfectly with this texture, and it's because they all have some sort of part in the texture. They all blend. This has brown, that has gray, so it all works out. You can also use it with other blocks like cyan wool, for example, which we'll be using in this example. So I'm going to go ahead and build out a wall and show you exactly why this is probably my new favorite block. Alright, we've got a stone wall built. Don't freak out, I'm putting some cyan wool on top of it. Nothing to see here. It just looks good in the end. Don't ask questions. And now I'm going to go ahead and change the floor here to be oak planks. There we go. Add a couple of wooden beams. Now, I really do not intend for this to be a block by block tutorial, so please do not get mad at how fast I am moving. This is just to give you some tips on how to use this block to create your own walls and other designs. So please do not follow this along block for block, because after all, you will never learn if you do that. So now that we've got this, I'm going to add a couple of other decorations, most notably here. This is just to kind of blend it down a little bit. Nothing crazy. We're going to add some trapdoors, and boom, just like that, we've got a beautiful wall. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but it actually looks extremely pleasing to the eye. And the reason why is because the smoker block is taking all of the colors that we see here and blending them together, making it a smooth transition as we go down. Without them, if we cover them up with some stone, it's a little bit more boring. It works, but there's definitely something missing. This just seems like it cuts off way too harshly. So if we add the smoker in there, it divides it off very smoothly. So the reason that this is important, imagine a room. In a room, you're typically going to have a white ceiling and a white baseboard that divides the walls to the carpet or wood floor. And that's exactly what's going on here. We've got the same colors as we do in the roof. As the wall goes down, it revisits those colors to separate the wall from the floor. And that is very important. You can do this in so many different ways. It doesn't just have to be a wall. Now, it actually doesn't even stop there. You can add in as many blocks as you want. Gonna add some cobblestone in there. Maybe a little bit of andesite. Andesite's like my favorite block, by the way. And just like that, we have got a perfectly detailed medieval castle wall, or whatever you want to call it. So even though we've added more blocks in here, it still blends in perfectly, and it's because we've got all of the colors in the trim. That's extremely important. Whenever you're building a wall, make sure that it's a smooth transition down, and if that means you have to revisit those colors using a block like the smoker, then do it. So this is a great way to use these organic resources to create a beautiful wall. So I kind of promised someone that this would be an action-packed video, so yeah, I guess that means we're gonna have to blow it up. Oh geez. Next up, we've got something so cool that you will likely never forget this in your Minecraft history. It's probably not that cool. It's the cartography table, which, I mean, it's kind of cool. You can use it to make maps, but let's not let that stop us. There's actually a lot more that we could use this amazing block for. So let's take a look at the sides of the block. We've got a couple of textures. Unfortunately, we cannot rotate this block. Hopefully in Minecraft 1.15 we will be able to, but for now, like I said, we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to build something cool with this. So we've got this texture, that texture, this texture, which I do plan on using in a video in the future. Stay tuned for that. I think we've also got one on the bottom, which is basically just dark oak. But we've got these two textures, and these are huge. We can actually use this for some really, really cool building. So let me go ahead and build out a wall here, just like we did for the smoker, and it's going to look amazing. So this block looks very familiar. Now, if you leave it like that, it's kind of odd. We've got a whole bunch of maps. It looks like a table with a bunch of paper on it. So let's add some dark oak planks on top. And wait a minute, that looks a little familiar. Oh yeah, that's basically the same exact texture, just rotated on its side. It's also got this really nice light trim on the very top of it, which perfectly separates these two blocks. So if we go ahead and build up a nice little room here, we're gonna see just how amazing this looks. So this is a basic example of a room interior that is entirely possible because of the cartography block. If we go ahead and essentially place that trapdoor down so I can get to it later, take away these blocks and just fill it with dark oak, you can see what the difference is here. We basically have a very boring wall on this side, whereas on this side it's a little bit more pleasing to the eye for the same exact reason that the smoker was in the previous clip. As you can see, it separates the wall from the floor in a beautiful way. This is one of my favorite ways to use one of the new blocks, and it just because it looks so amazing. And once we get some furniture in here, it looks even better. So what I want to do is go ahead and change this back. There we go. I'm a little messy today. And get that trapdoor back. I'm going to go ahead and put a plant here in the middle. We're going to add a little bit of life to the room with a nice potted plant. And by the way, that's one of my favorite designs. If you want to go ahead and take that, go for it. It's beautiful. Let's go ahead and build up a shelf here. And the way I'm going to do that is just using some trapdoors. I've got a couple of videos on furniture. If you want to see that, there's a couple of different ways that you can make some pretty cool furniture in 1.13 and 1.14. Now here is a small tip. You may have noticed for the flower pot I used a red mushroom. That is entirely on purpose, because it's great when you add some familiarity, if I can say that word, to a room. Dark oak comes from a dark oak forest, so if you use dark oak leaves, which aren't really much different from oak leaves, and of course red mushrooms because they're found all over that biome, it just brings a sense of the biome into the room, and anyone who's been playing Minecraft long enough may recognize that and appreciate the Easter egg. There we go, just add a painting in there and some signs, and boom, we have got a beautiful room on our hands. We can also add in some carpet if we want. Now in this case, I'm just going to show you what it looks like and probably get rid of it. And just like that, we've got a nice little lobby. You could use this as a study room, a library, or even just the walls of a new and improved transformed woodland mansion. Do what you want with it. But as you can see, because of this texture, this room is extremely smooth. With all the decorations in the room, it's a little bit unnoticeable, but trust me, your eye is going to appreciate that it's there. If we take it away once again, you'll see that it's very noticeable. It just looks bland. It doesn't look as detailed. But when you add it in there, it really just cleans it up. And that is the reason I love the cartography table. There are so many different ways you can use it though. This isn't the only way. You can obviously take the textures to create a wall like that on your own. If you want to make kind of a checkered pattern wall, you could do that as well using the dark oak. Now you can do this with pretty much all of the new blocks, but this one still looks pretty cool, especially if you were to surround surround it with some other blocks like normal oak logs. This is just an example. There's so many ways you could use this, which you could even use this as a support kind of area for a wooden house. I don't know. That's just kind of off the top of my head, but you can see there are so many different ways to use it, but none quite as awesome as this one. So this is by far my favorite way to use the cartography table. You know the drill. Action-packed. I hope you're happy. I really do. Oh, jeez. Last but certainly not least, weighing it at 5 pounds in the left corner, the barrel. Because it's empty, so it only weighs 5 pounds. This block is actually amazing. Don't even get me started. There are so many different possibilities for this block, whether it be decorations or actually building with it. It's got so many different textures, and that allows it to have so many different possibilities. You can use it to create a keg. If you're working on a boat dock, you can use it for some crates. Blending it with other blocks makes it look really good. You can also use it for storage, but you can also use it for building actual structures, because as you can see, it's got so many different textures. We've got the one on the top, we've got the one on the sides, which can be rotated, and of course the one on the bottom. Now the bottom one we're not really going to use too much, but as you can see, if we go ahead and place it like this and just kind of create a basic ceiling, it does work really well as a ceiling, but you can actually even rotate that and use it as a wall. If we do it like this, let me go ahead and try and get that working and mix it in with some spruce wood. You can do some really cool stuff with that as well. Now we've already done the whole trim stuff, so I'm not going to do that again because you are probably tired of it, but as you can see, we can do essentially the exact same thing as we could with the other blocks using that texture. So that's basically one way to use it. And if you want to basically build a wall out of that, go ahead and take the same tips as the previous two blocks, and you'll essentially be able to do that. Now, what I actually want to show you with this is how you can build some really cool entrances or even pirate-themed builds, and that is using it as a pillar. If we go ahead and take this block and build it up a couple of blocks, I'm going to go ahead and add a cap onto that and just kind of raise it up here. Very, very simple, nothing too complicated. If you do this and separate it with, or surround it with a couple of different decorations, like a trapdoor, we're going to get some stairs, and let's go ahead and add a couple of details here. Now, detailing is really the most important part of building in Minecraft. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because you can take a very bland blank wall and add a couple of decorations and add some depth and some texture, and you'll have a very beautiful build on your hands. So that is essentially all it takes. So all I'm doing is I'm using the barrel blocks and separating them, or surrounding them, sorry, I don't know why I keep saying separating, surrounding them with a couple of details like the trapdoors here for some supporting feet, just to add a little bit more weight on the bottom. And then I got some stairs and trapdoors to create some overhangs, some connecting beams like that. We can use this for so many different things. You could use this for an overhang on a build. You could actually add a roof onto it if you wanted to. You could add even a wall behind it, and it would actually create a really, really cool looking wall. So just as an example, I'm going to take some stone here, which adds a little bit of gray to it. Now, obviously, there's nothing really gray in the barrel block on its own, so there's really no reason I'm using andesite other than the fact that it's a great support looking structure. So that's essentially why I've done that. But if we use the gray, which as you can see is in the barrel block, we actually get a really, really interesting effect. You can build some walls like this. You could even cover it entirely with the gray wool if you wanted, or andesite, or open it up entirely. You can create some really cool looking walls with this. So I definitely recommend experimenting with the barrel. Unfortunately, that is going to do it for today's video, though. I do want to keep it short and sweet. I do have a video planned for using the barrels in various different decorations and other ways, so definitely make sure to stick around and check that out. But guys, that is going to be it for today's video. That's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing and turning on notifications to be alerted whenever I next upload a video. Also, let me know your opinions of these tips and tricks used in this video in the comments down below. And like I said, that's going to be it for today. My name has been System Z. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.